girls, Kaylee here. So you wanted me to do a video on my weight loss and I decided it was time. I also wanted to kind of change up my background so that it wasn't just a plain white background for this video because it's going to be a lot of talking. I'm a little afraid it might be a really long video, so I'm sorry if it is. But this is something I really feel strongly about. I have struggled with my weight quite a lot in my life, and I've ping-ponged between being overweight and underweight. I've had multiple eating disorders just from taking my weight loss too seriously at times and just not thinking properly about it. And it's been a rough road, and it was surrounded by a lot of crazy for me. And so this time around, I was just really focused on making a really permanent, really healthy change and doing it in a way that was really good for me. So starting out in the beginning of 2011, I weighed 160 pounds. You can kind of tell when you go back and you look at my YouTube videos from that time that my face was a little larger, but I was very good at like cropping myself off so that you really couldn't see more than that. And I don't have any pictures from that time, so I wish I had before and after pictures. I really don't. But that, for me, being about 5'3", that puts my body mass index in the overweight category, kind of close to the obese category actually. So I was definitely at an unhealthy weight. And I went over the next year and a half and lost about 40 pounds. I am around 120, really under 120 now, so I might have lost close to 50 pounds, but I just fluctuate so much I feel more comfortable saying 40. And it took me a year and a half. I took it really slow, really patiently, and it really did pay off. I ended up losing a quarter of my original body weight. I went from being a size 14 to a size 4, and more important than any of that is I went from being really unhealthy and sedentary to being a more healthy, fit person. I didn't really focus on like a certain body type that I wanted to have. I didn't even focus on a number that I wanted to reach. I really just focused on the fact that I wanted to be healthy. So I gave myself 3 rules that I was going to use to kind of govern the whole like dieting, lifestyle changing process. Because like I said, I had a lot of crazy that was involved in my weight loss in the past. You know, it had always been surrounded by a lot of bad decisions, and I didn't ever want to go back there. I really wanted to lose weight in a way that was healthy both for my body and my mind. And so I came up with those 3 rules, and I honestly think that those were probably what really helped me through this whole process. So before I jump into that, I wanted to go ahead and note that exercising was actually not a part of my original weight loss, and that was just because I had some physical problems going on, I had some health issues going on, I wasn't able to work out like I wanted to be, and so I did it with just my diet. However, if you are physically able to work out, exercise should certainly be a part of your weight loss. I mean, when you're losing weight, you want to be losing weight and revealing muscle tone and being able to see that. You don't want to just keep losing weight and there's nothing there to kind of reveal. And even more important than that, your body needs to be active. It needs that physical activity. Sedentary lifestyles are not good for your body, and it results in really, bad things for your health. So definitely, I mean, for your health and for the sake of how your dieting results look, definitely have exercise be a part of working out. Additionally, I'm not a doctor. You should obviously consult with your physician before you, do any big lifestyle changes, all that stuff. Just remember, I'm a normal person, not a doctor. The first rule that I made was that my only goal would be to create a healthy lifestyle, and I had a couple reasons for that. First of all, in the past, I've always given myself those number goals where I was just like, okay, I have to hit this number by this time, and I'm a very overachievery person, and so I would always set completely unattainable goals, and then I would be completely crushed when I wasn't able to reach them, and it was so frustrating. Another thing that I find happens is that you give yourself that goal, and so if you want to lose 10 pounds and you weigh yourself on the scale and you've lost a pound, you're like, alright, that's cool, but I have 9 more to go, and you don't really get excited about your weight loss. And I didn't really want that. I didn't want to discourage myself. I didn't want to set myself up for failure by either setting the bar too high or setting a bar and then constantly being disappointed in myself when I couldn't reach that. So I just decided, you know what? I'm not going to give myself those rules. I'm not going to give myself those goals. I'm really just going to focus on my lifestyle. The reason for that rule was that I really wanted to create a permanent change. I didn't want something that was just going to be really quick and little. I really wanted my change to be significant. I think a lot of times we see that we want to lose that weight. We have a number that we want to lose, we have a size in our heads, whatever, and we start to kind of want to shortcut to that. We want to get to that as quickly as possible. We want that effect where we're like, yes, I've achieved what I wanted to get. But what we forget is that there's a cause to that effect, and the cause is directly proportionate to the success of that effect. What I basically mean by that is if you go with a shortcut, you go with like a little shortcut diet where you eat like a crazy person, like you eat leaves for 3 months and you lose like, 50 pounds, but then you go back to eating exactly as you did before, you're gonna gain all the way back, you're gonna look just like you did before, and the reason for it is because you took a shortcut. You did something that you couldn't actually live with. So that cause was little and short, which means that your result will be little and short. Whereas if you put the time in and you make those changes that can really be permanent, and you make the changes permanently, like things that you're gonna stick with for the rest of your life, or at least for the foreseeable future, then you get the results that are there for the rest of your life, basically. And so you really want to be focusing on the fact that you're not going to go into a crash diet, you're not going to go and take all these crazy rules and just throw them at yourself so that you don't even know like what you're allowed to eat anymore. You just make changes that actually work within your diet and work with you and work with your lifestyle. And if you have a really busy lifestyle, when you have to cut something out of your life so that you have time to do more things, it's that crazy diet that you decided to jump on. That was what it always was for me. And so I really wanted to make those changes that were going to work with my lifestyle, that were things that I could really legitimately do every single day. Again, rule number 1 was that my only goal would be to create a healthy lifestyle. I did that because I didn't want to be discouraged by numbers or by looking at the numbers on the scale. I really wanted to focus on my lifestyle. And number 2, I really wanted changes that would be permanent in my life. I didn't want it to be a crash diet that I went on for a little while and then came off of and ate normally again, because again, my body would never change. I would like lose weight for a little while and then I would come right back, and I didn't want that. I really, really wanted those permanent changes that were gonna last me forever. Rule number 2 is to take baby steps. Now, I have sabotaged myself in the past by giving myself a ton of things to do. It's like trying to juggle 10 plates all at once when you've never even juggled a plate before. And you are just going to make a huge mess. Like, plates are going to be broken, there's going to be a mess, somebody might step on some glass, it's just not going to be pretty. But if you start with one thing and you really work on it until you get used to it and then you add slowly, eventually you will be able to juggle all 10 plates. That might be a funny analogy, but it makes sense in my head. Basically, the whole premise is that you make one change that you know that you can live with, that you know that you can deal with in your life, that you can keep going with your life and you can keep that change and it's not going to be uncomfortable. It might not be fun, but you can keep doing it. And you keep working on that change until it becomes comfortable, it becomes normal feeling, and then you add another one. And you keep going like that until it just becomes second nature. And all of a sudden you have a healthier lifestyle and you didn't even know how you got there. I mean, you could start out, if you're a soda drinker, start out by cutting back on those until you feel comfortable. Like if you drink 5 sodas a day, start by cutting back to 3 sodas a day. And then once that becomes comfortable, cut back to 1 soda a day. And once that becomes comfortable, just get rid of the soda. Diet soda too. And then you can start focusing on your meals, like your breakfast. Make a healthy breakfast, and then start focusing on your lunch. Every day this week, I'm going to eat a healthy lunch. And you keep doing that until it becomes normal. And then, okay, every day this week, I'm going to eat a healthy dinner. And then keep doing that until it becomes normal. And then, focus on your snacks. And it really does, over time, it just happens that you find yourself, oh my gosh, I'm eating so much healthier. You've made those changes slowly to where you actually feel competent and you feel in control and you feel like you know what you're doing. And that really helps me. I actually got that tip from Makeup Geek. She talked about it in her weight loss video, and it was invaluable to me. And she actually had a really great video on that. So if you want to go in the description box and click on the link to her video, tell her I said hi, I love her videos. That was really, really helpful for me. So that was change number 2, simple and sweet like that. It really does just take the crazy out of it. Because you do want to be able to make something that's going to work with your lifestyle. It's going to be something that you can't say no to. Like, you want to give yourself something to where it's so easy that you can't say no. So if it's really just like a little thing like cutting 2 sodas out a day, then you should be able to do that. And you just do that and you stick with it until it's done. And I do want to go back to a point that I made in my first rule, which was that I would only have my lifestyle as my goal, and I was saying that I didn't want to set weight goals. What I did instead of setting weight goals was to set lifestyle goals, and that was a lot better for me because, like I said, your weight loss goes along with that. If you drink 5 sodas a day, you're drinking 1,000 calories of soda a day, which is 7,000 calories a week, which is 2 pounds of soda a week that you're drinking, as in like it turns into 2 pounds of fat. So if you cut that out, you're gonna lose weight. Like, it's just gonna happen. And it goes on and so forth with Pop-Tarts and pizza and burgers. Like, it just comes off. So set your goals, but set them as lifestyle goals and set them for every week. You know what? This week I'm gonna have a healthy breakfast every single week, and you do that until it becomes second nature to you, until it becomes something that's normal for you and something that's easy for you. So you formed a new habit, and then go on and create a new habit. That's my second rule, was baby steps, and honestly I think that one might have been the best one that I had. And rule number 3 was that I was going to maintain a healthy mind while I created a healthy body, and basically my whole reason for that was that I have had 2 really significant eating disorders in my past. It was a really rough time for me. It's really not a time in my life that I like to look back and remember. But every time since then that I would work on losing weight, it was always in the back of my mind that, you know, I could cut a meal here and there, or I could go to the gym and I could work out longer than I was supposed to, and things like that. All those like same motivations and those same triggers were still there. Like I still wanted to go back and do all of those things, and it was something that I really had to fight. And I see on the internet a lot, people make comments, I see those little, like, you know, pictures with like little words on it about how, you know, whoever made this picture, they want to look a certain way and they're willing to sacrifice food for that, or they don't feel like they're worthy of eating. I mean, things like that, and it really breaks my heart because I've been there and I know what that's like and I know how hard it is. A quick little, I don't know, piece of advice for you guys now is to really look at your motivation for losing weight and continue to evaluate your motivation throughout the entire process. Because I found that when my motivation was wrong, then I was willing to go too far. I was willing to push that bullet. I was willing to make those things, those changes and those decisions that were never supposed to happen. Really you need to look out for is when you're motivated by the thought that you are not worthwhile without the weight loss. That you genuinely, as a person, have no worth, no meaning, and you can't be valued by other people unless you lose the weight. And you know what I'm talking about. When you really truly believe that you look in the mirror and you see yourself and all you can think is, I hate you. And I don't want to look like this and I don't want to be this person. And you choose to believe those thoughts, and you believe that because that's what you see in the mirror, that's what everybody else sees. Everybody else looks at you and they just think, ew, and they don't want to be around you and they don't want to love you. That you just can't be enough the way that you are, and so you have to make those changes. And when you believe those things and when you look at those things, you are genuinely believing that your meaning and your purpose and your value comes from what you look like and comes from what you see when you look in the mirror. And that is false. I mean, there are so many other things that feed into who you are than what you look like. And what you look like is the most transient, the most superficial thing to judge yourself on. You should never degrade yourself by judging yourself on your size or your skin or your hair or any of that stuff. You are so much more than that. And you have to learn to look at yourself and to realize that you have value and you have meaning and you have purpose, and that is intrinsically yours, and it's not taken away by what you weigh. And it's not taken away by the size of the jeans that you wear. And it will never be given to you by losing weight. You have it already. You don't need to achieve it. You need to learn just to look at yourself and to find value and meaning there. Because when you genuinely believe that you're going to find value and meaning at the end of your diet, you will give anything to get there. You will give anything to have the body that you want to have. But the problem is that you will never really believe that you're there. No matter how skinny I got, I never believed that I was there. I never believed that I looked good enough. And I was always willing to keep pushing. And that's really where it goes. You hear about it, you see it in the news, and whenever you learn about anorexia and things like that, you see that these girls, they're really skinny and they look in the mirror and they genuinely believe that they're huge. They genuinely believe that they are too big and they need to still lose weight. And that's really what's in store when you really believe that you have to find that meaning and that purpose and what you look like to yourself in the mirror. You are willing to push yourself way too far to get there. So if you're there and you want to lose weight and you know that that's why, and you know that that's what's motivating you, that is an issue that you need to deal with completely apart from weight loss. You need to deal with that completely apart from losing weight or from changing your diet. That's something that you need to deal with on your own. You can talk to a counselor, you can read whatever books you need, but just look at yourself and learn to find value in yourself and meaning and purpose in yourself without all that other stuff, and learn to find that you are meaningful. I was able to find that meaning and purpose through the fact that I am a Christian, and my beliefs say a lot about just the fact that everybody is meaningful and purposeful and specially made. And just learning to find that and to rest in that really helped. So that's my advice. I hope that wasn't a lot more than you were looking for in this video. But basically just you have to look at your motivation, look at why you want to lose weight, and make sure that your motivation is healthy. Remember, when you do lose weight, when you do get to a healthy point, it really does help you with your confidence. You feel a lot better in clothes, you feel a lot more confident in the stuff you wear, and that's great. Confidence is amazing. As long as you're looking for confidence, you're not going to really be disappointed. But if you're looking for meaning and purpose, you are going to be disappointed. You're going to keep looking, you're going to keep hurting yourself to get there, and you'll never get there. And so just remember to stop, make sure your motivation is right, and occasionally check in on yourself. Make sure that motivation stays good throughout the whole process. And that was what I did, and it really helped me. I've honestly gotten to the point where now I can work on my diet and I can work on my lifestyle, and I don't have those thoughts in the back of my head anymore. And it is something that I'm really proud of and really happy for. So that's that. I hope that wasn't too much for that. And now I'm going to go ahead and get into what changes I did make to my diet. First step that I made was to get rid of processed food and sugar. Now that is a lot of change to make. That makes a huge difference, because the thing is, when you're eating those processed foods, you eat empty calories. Like a bag of chips, you know, you could eat the entire gigantic potato bag of chips, and I don't know about you guys, but that thing will not fill me up. But there are thousands of calories in a bag of potato chips and tons of fat in them, and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't give you any real nutrients, any real fiber. It doesn't give your body anything really to run off of. And you can use that with any example. Sodas, for sure, they are full of calories, they're full of sugar, and they give you nothing as far as being full or being nutrified. You don't get any of that. Your body is just kind of trying to run off of chemicals, and it's not good for you. When you replace that stuff with actual real food, you're giving your body nutrients, you're giving your body things that are actually filling, and those things are lower in calories, so you're actually kind of able to eat a little bit more. When I eat like really healthily, and I'm really focused on like my veggies and my fruits and my whole meats and all that stuff, it's really, I mean, I get really full, and sometimes it's hard to actually eat enough calories in a day because the stuff is so filling. So I think it's an amazing change, because the other thing with processed food is that it's a lot of chemicals. It's not stuff that your body's meant to eat, and your body really does feel sluggish and kind of like just not good. You know, you feel like you have that energy sucked out of you a lot. And when you make that change over to real food, you're actually getting those nutrients in your body, so your body is actually able to get up and work a little bit more, so you actually feel a lot more alive, a lot more energetic, a lot more capable of doing things, instead of just feeling that like sluggishness. And I just love that feeling of my body really being healthy and really working really well, and like it's got the nutrients that it needs so it's able to function correctly. I love that feeling, and it really is good. And I know that, you know, there are those foods that you love, and I think if you can learn, what I would do, honestly, cut out all the processed foods and then just add in the little bits that you're allowed to have. Because it's easier to just go cold turkey and then add in little bits than to keep little bits in. Because once you completely cut it out of your diet, it's kind of easier not to like roll back into like starting to eat all that again. So that was the first change that I made. I think it's an invaluable change to eating clean. So basically you shop like the perimeter of the grocery store and just get fruits and vegetables and lean meats and dairy and whole grains. It's so much better for you, and it's really filling. So it's just better in general. So that would be my first change, and I definitely recommend that one. If you are a huge processed food person, then you're definitely going to notice a huge change. The next change that I made was to go from eating 3 meals a day to eating 6 little meals a day. Now that might sound really weird, but here's what happened. I switched off of processed food, I switched off of sugar, I lost about 7 or 10 pounds, which was great, really exciting, but then I stopped. And I was kind of trying to look and reevaluate what I was eating and all of that kind of stuff, and I realized that what was happening was that I was eating too much still. Like, even though I was eating healthier foods, because I had been used to eating lots and lots of processed foods, because like I said, they're not very filling, I was used to just eating a lot, so my stomach was kind of stretched out, and my body was used to taking in a lot more calories than I was supposed to, and I was doing that still with the healthier foods. And so I was like, okay, so I have to cut back my portions. I have to get this into like a healthy amount of calories a day. So you're not just watching the quality of your calories, but the quantity of your calories. Well, what happened was that my body was so used to carrying so many calories that when I tried to just switch to eating smaller meals, and I tried to eat like, you know, a normal sized person's meal and only eat 3 meals a day with a little snack in between, my body just didn't do well with that. I felt dizzy and faint. I felt like I was starving. And every time in the afternoon, my blood sugar would have dropped so low that basically I would just go to the kitchen and just eat tons of food and undo everything that I'd already done that day. As far as like, you know, trying to eat smaller portions so that I was watching my calorie intake. So what I started to do was to eat 6 small meals every day. And I still had like my breakfast time one be like a breakfasty food, and my lunchtime one and my dinner time one be like, you know, those kinds of foods. So I still felt like I was getting those 3 meals, but then I had 3 snacks in between those. And I did try to keep the calories about the same through all of those just to keep my blood sugar from doing this number. And I also made sure that I drank at least a glass of water with each meal. And I was so full. I would get to the end of the day sometimes and just be like, I can't eat anymore. Like, I'm good, I'm done. And it made it really, really easy. Little meals a day. It also made it really easy for keeping up with my calories, because I could decide like, okay, I'm gonna have like 300 calories worth of stuff at each little snack or whatever. And it kind of made it a little bit easier because I just had to think of my food in like 300 calorie portions. But also if like you wanted to go to dinner, you could change one of your meals to have less calories so that you would have more calories for dinner and things like that. It's just, it worked really, really well for me. So I really recommend that one as well. A third thing I'm going to add, and I didn't really think about this, but I actually did make this change, was to start counting my calories, and that is a really good thing to do. You could use like a Weight Watcher system. The Weight Watcher system is actually amazing. It's really, really helpful. I've used it in the past, and it's really what helped me now to be able to look at a food and kind of, I can judge about how many calories I've had in the day really easily without having to use like a counter. But you could use a calorie counter app or Weight Watchers or whatever, but it's really good just to know how much you're putting into your body, because sometimes you think that you're eating something that's low in calories and it's really not. Like, I used to think, and this was like way in the past, I used to have like a bagel and then like a quarter cup of cream cheese on this bagel, and I thought I was having like a really healthy low calorie breakfast, and that is not a low calorie breakfast. It's not really that healthy either. So, you know, just look at that. Go ahead and start counting your calories. Keep an eye on it. I wouldn't say that you have to be, you know, really, really strict about it. You don't have to be crazy about it, but it's good to know how many calories you're intaking every day. So those are the 3 changes that I made, and I would really recommend to you, was to go to clean eating, eating 6 little meals a day, and then counting my calories. Now, I don't actively count my calories now, but I do keep an eye on it. Like I said, I have a pretty good idea of what amount of calories are in what foods I eat, so I do kind of know what I have going on, so it's kind of something I'm able to do anyway. The 4th and final change that happened for me, I just wanted to note it because it did help me lose another like 10 pounds, was that I found out I was allergic to dairy, and my body does not do well with sugar or caffeine. So I have like permanently cut dairy, sugar, and caffeine out of my diet, and that caused me to lose about 10 more pounds. And that just happened. You don't have to do that, obviously. Cutting out dairy really made a difference, and it was really good for me. And I found that a lot of Americans, through my research, I found that a lot of Americans are actually allergic to dairy and don't know it. So, you know, it might be a good thing to at least limit your dairy, but I wouldn't say that like you have to cut dairy out of your diet. I just wanted to note that that was something that I did because I have allergies and my body is really weird. So yeah, I think this video is going to be like ridiculously long, but I hope it was really helpful. Thank you if you made it all the way through to the end. Comment and tell me if you did. I hope I didn't get too deep in any of these parts. I really do just want to make like a really informative video, so that's kind of why I did all of that. I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you guys on Monday with a new video. See you then. Mwah. Bye.